AIDA Boost. Yeah, AIDA Boost. That's
AIDA
right.
Boost. AIDA.
AIDA. Sorry, Damien.
Yeah.
Usual. Not bothered. Yeah. I'm going to talk to you all about that. Am I ready to go? Shall I just crack on?
I think so. I don't think there's any housekeeping. There is a chat, guys. There is a Q&A as well. If you've got any questions, feel free to put them in there. We'll do our best to police that as we go along and get any answers for your questions. We've got about half an hour scheduled for the session. Hopefully a little bit of time for Q&A. So yeah, Alex, over to you, mate. Off you go.
Take it away. Lovely. Wow, great to be a guinea pig. What could possibly go wrong?
Everything, but let's not go there.
But so far, so good. Yeah. So I'm Alex. I'm guessing there's some people out there. I'm not sure if we've done the poll, Damien, to find out if people know about AIDA, to find out if people.
Oh, we can. Let's do that. There we go. I've started a poll. Apparently, I don't know whether anyone can see the poll. Oh, yes, right. 100% people have said that they
about AIDA, so that's a good start.
So far, yeah, the people have voted that they know all about it. So
good. Yeah, curious if they were on the other webinar. If you haven't been on the other webinar, Damien, I believe that's on your YouTube channel, the Selectec YouTube channel. So
well, we've thrown another poll up, which is quite interesting because we can't see it, but we throw it to see whether anybody else has. Apparently, not everybody has seen the old webinar, Alex.
Okay,
so probably worth.
Well, I would definitely encourage you to go to look at the recording of that previous webinar. Broadly, in terms of positioning, AIDA, well, we've been around for quite some time, since 2019. AIDA stands for Artificial Intelligence for Document Automation. We used artificial intelligence before everyone started using it, but it pretty much says what we do. It's about end-to-end automation of document workflows. We've got at the core of what we do is our extraction engine. And we're going to dive a little bit more into that. We do a lot more than just extraction. As I say, it's end-to-end automation. Wherever the documents come from, whatever format they're in, whatever they look like, they can get sent to AIDA in whatever way you like, pretty much. Data can get extracted, data can get sent to whatever systems you need to. Documents get saved in whatever repositories you need them to be saved in. So that's broadly what we do, end-to-end document automation. What I'm going to be talking to you about today is AIDA Boost. And we've called it AIDA Boost because it's supposed to boost your productivity effectively, boost the efficiency with which you're managing and processing documents. There are a lot of tools out there which do OCR and do OCR well. Of course, we do OCR and we do OCR well. But what we go a little bit further than a lot of others. So we talk about one-click learning. So, there's not the concept which is the case in some other tools and used to be more prevalent, which was, you'd have to train the beasts, train the engine with dozens of examples of the same document. Now we talk about one-click learning, and it's to some extent, well, to a good extent, it's AIDA Boost, which is helping with that one-click learning. And as we'll see, it's not only one-click learning, it's also effectively zero-click learning. With AIDA Boost, AIDA is able to understand the context of the document and extract and categorize the information and the data that it takes from that document the very first time it does it. So without further ado, let's get cracking. Yeah, feel free to keep the questions coming. We'll have 5 or so minutes at the end to handle questions. So Damien will be kind of collating those, and we'll hopefully get to them at the end.
Absolutely. If anything comes up, Alex, I'll drop it across to you. One question about it from me, not anybody else. Is AIDA Boost a new arrival in the product? Has it been around for a while? Just to position that.
Yeah, thanks. Good question. So AIDA Boost has been around for some years. We released a new version of it, AIDA Boost 2, a few months ago, which, amongst other things, helps with automatic extraction of line items from tables. It's been around for a while, but the latest version is more powerful, greater than ever before.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
I'm going to start. So for those of you that haven't seen the previous webinar, are not familiar with AIDA, this is your start place. So we're in analysis. If you haven't registered for an account, you can do that absolutely free, and it's as quick as you like. You just need to come to aidacloud.com and click on enter, and then you'll be taken through the setup wizard really quick. The first kind of thing to do, as I say, is create a document type. So we work on the basis of document types. Document type is defined by the data that you extract from that document, as you'll see here. So I've got a document here, which I'm just going to drag and drop into the interface like that. But as I say, there are multiple ways that you can upload a document to AIDA. You can do it directly from your scanner. You can do it from WhatsApp. You can do it from email. We have an input here. We have an input API, FTP. There's all various options that you can see there. Equally on the output side, we're not going to go into that today, but there's a whole bunch of different options that you can work with, some out-of-the-box integrations that we have already. And then we choose a nice little icon. And then here it is. So this is a planning application. I can kind of rename that if I like, and it's extracted a bunch of information. I'll go straight to the analysis, back to the analysis page, so we can see what it's done. But this is obviously first time we've created this document type, and the first time that we've uploaded a document. Damien, there's your little running man. I know you
love the running man. We talked about this. It's not an AIDA demo without the running man.
Exactly.
I just when there's a good moment, Alex, I'll put a button up so people can click that to go to the registration page for AIDA. So
yeah,
we can fit that in. All right, that will be coming later, guys.
Lovely. Thanks, Damien. So this is it. This is the document. So you can already see AIDA Boost at work here. So the fact that it's categorized different data. So there's authority details, applicant details, agent details. That's AIDA Boost at work, and the fact that it's named also the property. It's given it a name is also AIDA Boost at work. So AIDA Boost really kind of helps AIDA to understand the context of the document. It's not about just brainless kind of OCR, which is just taking text from the document. It's really understanding what the document is about. So it understands that this is a planning application. It understands that there's an authority. So in this case, it's taken the local planning authority. It's taken it from here, which is a bit of AIDA Boost at play. You can also see the authority address. This is taken in one field. So this is also AIDA Boost at play. So it's not just taken the separate line items, Tredoman House, Tredoman Park. It's effectively concatenated them all into one field. So again, that's AIDA Boost at play. Equally, on the form, you can see there are 3 separate fields for the names, but it recognizes that's someone's name, so it's put that all in one field. Of course, you can, if you don't want that, you want to create them separately, you can go back and change the property settings such that you have an individual property for each one. You can do that. And here, for example, yes, the address again is on separate lines. Always good to check your first document. AIDA's not that familiar with all the places in Wales. That looks a little bit like an L, so we might want to just change that to an R. But you'll see this across here. So Fred Blogs is a similar, and the address here as well, the second address. So all of those are cases of AIDA Boost. So effectively, if that is the information I need, it's 0-click learning. It's got all the information I need, and I can just validate it, and it goes straight into the archive. Off it goes. So there we are. There's
just worth a thing that I think a lot of people don't necessarily notice there is the little switch, Alex, where you validated that document. It's a little toggle there that says create automation. Yeah. Which again, next time round, correct me if I'm wrong, but next time round, if the confidence level from the extraction is where it needs to be, it's not going to ask you to validate if you've turned that automation on. And automations can be turned on or off in the config as well. So just in case anyone's not seen that before, there is a little toggle that says you don't need to manually validate, but it's really quite nice to be able to turn that feature on and off if you've got a workflow where you do want to bring it back into a user to do the validation. I only mentioned, Alex, I was chatting to someone the other day and they weren't aware that that toggle did that.
Yeah.
The ability to turn it on and off. So yeah.
No, good one to highlight, Damien. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, generally we find, users at beginning a little bit skeptical. Can AIDA, extract the information that is needed? But broadly, after a few document examples, they'll see that actually it's very reliable, and then you can create the automation and off you go. And if ever, we'll see it in some of the other documents we're doing, if ever AIDA is not sure about a property, or if the property is a mandatory one and is missing, they'll either be orange or red. So if there's an orange or red one, then it goes straight into analysis. It doesn't automatically go into the archive and whatever destinations you've defined. So we have a kind of a traffic light system to determine whether, effectively the document is ready for validation or not. Speaking about, I'm just uploading quite a larger document. So whilst that's kind of going on, I'll just go to the main configuration page here. So this is the default that we have for the anomaly detection, which is highlighting whether something is orange or red. If you just want to go to OCR only, you can always have that option. But otherwise, there'll be an element of AIDA Boost. And if you want to highlight every time AIDA Boost is being used to extract information, you can toggle this item on, so you can check what AIDA Boost is doing. Anyway, let's go back to the document. I'm still going. So this is a multi-page invoice. Here it comes up. So over 5 pages with a table. So I've already created, for the interest of speed, for the other documents, I've created the document types already, just that so we can kind of get to them a little bit quicker. And then in the configuration of this document, I said there's a table. So again, you'll see, I haven't touched these properties or the categorizations on the left-hand side. That was what AIDA Boost was automatically able to extract. And you'll see, if I go into the properties of the document, you'll see, for example, again, you have to trust me on this one, but when I first created this document type, it automatically recognized that there was a VAT number, and therefore automatically defined the format type for that property as VAT number. You have other ones, currency you'll have a bit down here. There's date that you can see. There's currency for name and subtotal. I think I did a bit of a rule here. This isn't AIDA Boost, but this is just another funky little thing that we can do. Yeah, so the VAT amount is, you can do a little formula, is the effectively total minus the subtotal. So that's another little funky little trick. You can have different formulas on that front. And I've said there's a table, and this is what I want in the table. And now when I've actually got the document, so I don't need to define, what the table is, where it is, which columns you need to take. There's none of that configure element. I just say, there's a table. I want these fields extracted from it. And sure enough, here we go. Here's the first row. And the great thing with AIDA Boost as well is, particularly for the more, let's say, involved invoices, often within one line, you have, within one row, you have multiple lines of text or whatever it might be. So here you can see, this is the first row. It's got 3 lines. This is AIDA Boost recognizing that all belongs to the same row. So we see that kind of going forward. And there's, 5 pages of it all the way down here.
It's interesting as well, because you've got different alignments there. And that traditionally, certainly with templated stuff, was always a bit of a challenge, because you've got that center justified. in that table, and AIDA Boost isn't struggling with that, which is, it's interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the table ends right down at the bottom here, and then we have the grand totals and the subtotals, which are right at the top. If we go back to the first page, yeah. So I think that's what you're talking about, Damien. You've got tables here.
Yeah.
The main table is in a different format. Exactly.
Yeah.
And then this is, here we go, total, subtotal, and clicking on the left, it brings up the section on the document on the right. And then that's my calculation for the VAT. So there we are. There's one more example. How are we doing for time? Not too bad.
You still got about 15 minutes, mate, actually, until 10 o'clock. So you're doing great.
All right. We've got, I think, 3 more documents, 3 more examples that I want to show you as well. So here is just to keep it a little bit international. I've got a little French one for you. So AIDA comes in 6 languages and can cope with pretty much any language in Roman scripts in terms of the extraction. So this one is just a 1-pager. It's kind of handwritten, but it's kind of AI handwritten, of course. But you'll see it here. This is the form, some kind of form for a child doing something at school in France. And then you'll see, yes, again, there's a bit of AIDA Boost at play, because it's recognized that it needs to take all of that address field. What I want to touch on now are the prompts that you can give AIDA to extract information. So you'll see this one here. This says lundi soir, which from your GCSE French, I'm sure you remember is Monday evening, and it's got an X in there. So I just want to show you what we've done to be able to kind of extract that. So if we click on lundi soir down here, you'll see under the configurations for a property, the second tab is AIDA Boost. And you'll see there's a prompt field in here. So what I've simply written is this property must contain an X if there is a handwritten X in the box next to lundi soir, otherwise it should remain empty. I've increased the confidence of AIDA Boost, and sure enough, as you saw on the document, it's seen that there's an X next to lundi soir. Yeah. And it's put an X in the property field there. So I can now export that data to wherever it needs to go.
So effectively, that option allows you to tailor in plain text the Boost query effectively.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you could, thinking about that, manage the number of lines it could span or anything else. I'm guessing you could kind of say that, this is an address field, but it'll be a maximum of 5 lines or some such. Or
so you can give up. So that first one that we've done, you could do the address. This property must contain a house number, a house name, and a town. E.g. It likes examples, right? So e.g. London Road, Reading, and then if it hasn't, that will give it the instructions to pull the address exactly.
Sure. Cool.
What have we got now? Let's do an inspection certificate. Is Nick on the call?
Mr. Gill?
Yeah.
I believe so. He's staying very quiet. Obviously, he's not chimed in on the chat, but he was here.
But he might like this one coming up. We'll see. I don't want to do too much of a spoiler, so I want you to see the document first before we.
This is that awkward thing, isn't it? Of the the talking just long enough for the wheels to stop spinning. There we go.
There it is. So here, this is a low quality document for a start, because it's a photo of a printout of a photo. So we've got kind of not great quality. So there are a couple of things in here. Here, for example, this is the traffic light system I was talking about. So this is pretty blurred. I'm not 100% sure if that is right. I think it's right. So it's asking me to validate it because it's got a low OCR confidence, so I can kind of validate it just like that. It's looking, so AIDA Boost is taking the address. Again, it's a bit blurred, but that looks all right to me. That looks great. And then you'll see here, this last property that I wanted to highlight, because you'll see it's got highlighted text. Again, it's quite grainy, but there's definitely a highlighter which has gone over that. And if we go into the property fields here, for example, ministerial decree, and I go to my AIDA Boost tab again. Again, I've given it a prompt. This property must contain the text. I didn't written it wrong, and it still got it. The text highlighted with a yellow marker pen. If no text is found, this property should be blank. And sure enough, yeah, that's what you see that AIDA has done in the document. So it's again adding a layer of intelligence to extraction, which I think you'll find hard to find elsewhere. So that's highlighted text. Yeah.
Mr. Gill is on the call, so I'm wondering if in a minute he's going to tell us whether he is happy with that or not. I don't know quite why you think that's relevant for Mr. Gill, but he is here. He knows.
He is.
If you know, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And then, yeah, one more document. How are we doing? 52. Yeah, perfect timing, I think.
A bit more time. You got a bit more time.
Yeah. So this is. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you very much. So yeah, this document is a tenancy agreement, so it's more contractual by its nature, and you'll see that there's elements of it are a form, elements are kind of a longer text, and I just wanted to show you to kind of finish off with kind of how AIDA copes with AIDA is still very capable of extracting data from longer text from unstructured data. So here we go. So again, the usual stuff, categorization of properties. There's a couple of cool things that AIDA Boost has done here. Well, it might be cool. So in this case, the landlord, there are two landlords. It's a couple, Stuart and Tamara. So it's listed those in the one property as it has done for the tenants. You'll see some stuff around the address. So it's captured all the address again, even though they're in multiple fields. I'm going to want to kind of add that. I could concatenate those two, for example, because it hasn't captured that number. But what I want to focus on is these last two. So the governing act. Where's it got that from? Let's have a look. Somewhere in there. Yeah. And the condition inspections, which is a section in the contract with a bunch of subclauses, and we've got some text in there. So again, if I go into those property types and then go into AIDA Boost, you'll see the prompt I've given it. This property must contain the name of the act which this agreement is governed by. And then the second property, I'm actually asking it, this property must contain a circa 30-word summary of the condition inspections. And if I go back to that document, that is exactly what you see here. And again, it's taken that act from that, extracted it from that kind of sentence, from that paragraph, and it's summarized in 30 words, roughly, the conditions here. So if I'll do the validate for you now, Damien.
Okie dokes. There you go.
There's the toggle. So I can toggle that on.
Yeah.
And then the next time a document like this comes through with no orange or red fields, it will go straight to the archive. Potentially, if you've set up destinations for it to be sent to, it would be sent to those. You can have multiple destinations.
Yeah, that's actually it's a very simple feature compared to some of the stuff you've just been showing us, but it's important to remember with that, as you bring it into that validation step, if you don't enable automation, as a user, you could toggle on and off different destinations, which is a very usable feature from a routing perspective as well. If you've got someone perhaps looking at post room or something else, it's actually quite a usable feature. You know, it's easy to overlook how powerful it could be.
Yeah, no, good one, Damien. Yeah, good to highlight that too. No pun intended.
Well,
thank you. I'm not here all morning, fortunately, because we've just got 4 minutes to go.
You do have 4 minutes.
But yeah, that was the archive that I was just in. I can click on the documents. This is kind of locked down now in terms of the data that was extracted. And I can see here my little 30-word summary from that little property that I requested. There we go.
Very cool.
AIDA Boost.
Well, I'm impressed. So I'm going to throw a button on the screen right now, which takes you to the registration page for AIDA, which is where, Alex, I think you look after or one of your team look after the demo requests and bits and pieces. And of course, get in touch with our account managers as well. They can talk to you about NFRs and various other different options and making sure that you understand it. And as we've mentioned him, Mr. Gill, Nick from Selectec is also on hand to be able to take you through demos and other bits and pieces, as are the rest of the Selectec team. If there are any questions, Max is certainly happy. He's sent us a happy smiley face. So there's another happy Selectecer at the back of this. But if you do have any questions that occur to you after this webinar, feel free to get in touch. We can, of course, get in touch with Alex as well if it's something we don't know, but we're all here. Thanks for running us through that, Alex. The ability to use the standard feature set but increase it with those plain text prompts and things, and also the note that we can get summaries and things out of it, so that's data that's not necessarily on the document, is a really powerful thing to understand with it. And just to be clear, just to clarify for us, AIDA Boost isn't a thing that we have to it's not an additional option. It's not a thing that we need to buy or, configure differently. It's a feature of the product. And when you take on AIDA, it's there, it's front and center, it's included. You just use it or not.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I just finished by saying, we love challenging documents, challenging document workflows. So, I would give you the challenge to come to us, come to Nick, Damien, me with documents where your clients are struggling to kind of process them in an efficient way. And I promise you, we'll be able to boost productivity. So give us those opportunities and we won't let you down.
I think we're going to have to talk about your use of terrible puns, Alex. We're going to carry on with this series.
Is that
need to have words?
Well, I think it should be a feature, an ongoing theme.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
This webinar was recorded. Thank you, Alex. Much applause. And we survived on the new platform, it seems, as well, without anything catching fire. So that was quite nice. It is recorded. If you registered for it, you'll receive a link to be able to watch it. And of course, we'll be using it internally and it'll be on different shares and stuff. So as Alex has said, if you want anything else, if you want any more information, get in touch. But I think that's it. And you are bang on time, Alex, as well, to within a few seconds. Right. Quite pleased with that. So There we go.
Yeah.
All right.
Good stuff. All right. Thanks very much. Thanks very much for your time this morning. Have a great day and a great Easter.
Yeah, you too. Thanks, Alex. Bye-bye now.
Bye, guys.